and it rained from sort of 2:30 onward, really. And then I drove all the way back through the Midlands to here by about 9 o'clock last night, and it never let up for a minute. I think, and parts of the motorways, parts of the M69 last night as I came through them were absolutely flooded on the inside lane. I would suggest that won't be the only meeting we lose this week. I think Leicester tomorrow definitely going to be in some jeopardy. I would imagine the likes of Warwick later on in the week will be a little bit nervous at this point as well. They had an awful lot yesterday. I'm hoping Uttoxeter survives my local one for New Year's Eve, but again they were already on heavy ground. I was there for the last meeting last week and walked across the course, and your foot was sinking in then. It really was very, very testing. How much more they can take, I don't know. I'm hoping they get away with it, but we'll see. So as I say, no Welsh National preview today. We'll do that when it comes up next week. So really, having been up since sort of 7:30 this morning and watched a few videos of yesterday's racing. I did catch a few bits and pieces while I was working, but my thoughts really on yesterday's racing. First of all, I think for all that Kempton was fantastic, the one performance that stood out for me yesterday was Footpad over at Leopardstown. Again, just this horse is just so exciting to watch. Looks an absolute natural at the chasing game. Again, has barely put a foot wrong in disposing of Death Duty et al. Yesterday. Death Duty, I've never really got it with Death Duty. I've never been a massive fan of the horse, I have to say. But he was well cooked anyway when he fell. Footpad had already put him to the sword and he couldn't keep with him. I think Footpad's got to be high on your agenda. I think for high on your shortlist for the Arkle next year. He just looks absolutely top class to me. Over at Kempton, what did we see? We saw Black Courton winning again in the Cato Star. Where does it all end with Black Courton? No one knows. I keep thinking that at some point the amount of racing that he's had over the past 12 months is going to start and catch up with him at some point. It's worth remembering this horse has been on the go since April of last year, really without what you'd call a proper break at any point. But he seems to just thrive on his racing. He just seems to be improving. He just seems to be getting better. It may be that the 3 mile chasers we have as a bunch this year aren't fantastic, and he's the best of them. Let's not. That's a bit churlish of me to sort of crab the horse. I think he's an absolute joy to watch. I think Bryony Frost gets on so well with him. He quite simply is the best jumper of fences, and that's what it's all about. It's okay saying this would have won if it hadn't have fallen, blah blah blah. That becomes sort of irrelevant really, because you need horses that jump fences as a novice, and Black Cotton does that, and he does it extremely well. As I say, at the back of my head, I've still got that worry that at some point it's all going to catch up with him. I think I don't know whether there's a plan to give him a break now and then bring him back for Cheltenham. I don't know, but he is as I say, while we have him, he's absolutely wonderful to watch. Bouvardere, so impressive in the Christmas Hurdle. Didn't come out of third gear to beat the new one. And the new one this year is as good a yardstick as you're going to get. I don't particularly like the term yardstick, but in this instance, I think it's justified because the new one's danced all the dances this year and has run to pretty much a similar level all the way through. Bouvardere just made him look pedestrian yesterday, and I think he's probably the one to beat for me come March. For all that Faheen was impressive on his comeback as well, I still think Bouvardere, the engine's yet to be tested this season, and I think he'll go to Cheltenham a relatively fresh horse, and I think he'll take all the beating again. I really do. And so to the King George, really, which, dependent on how you want to look at it, really, is either a great result for Mike Bite, or he's beaten a handicapper by around about sort of 3 lengths. I prefer to take the former view. I think it's a case with Mike Bite. He's only ever going to do enough. He'll only beat what's put in front of him by as little as he needs to, I think. I don't think he's a flashy sort in that respect. I was taken with him yesterday. I was taken with Mike Bite. I love the horse. I think he's, again, a superb jumper of a fence. And come back to that point I made with Black Courton, horses that jump fence as well are going to win races. And with Mike Bite, he's travelled well yesterday. He's picked off Bristol de Mai, I thought, pretty much in 100 yards and said goodbye to him. set sail, and from that point he's never really looked like getting beaten, despite the fact that T for Two threatened between sort of 2 out and 1 out to possibly come and get involved with him, but he was soon left behind again. Mike Bite had another gear. So a good performance from Mike Bite, and again, it has to be thereabouts, you would imagine, come March, because already proven over the course and distance, and already a proven festival winner, which is something I like a lot. Double Shuffle's run a cracker. I should have been a bit braver last week when I was sort of chatting about the King George preview with Double Shuffle, because I thought he could get in the front. I got talked out of it, actually. Sort of a friend of mine sort of said, no, you're looking at this all wrong, but actually I was looking at it through sort of pretty fresh eyes, and for all that Double Shuffle's only gone down a length, I think there was more in Mike Bite's locker. I think he probably could have won sort of 5 or 6 were he not such an idle so-and-so. So it's a good run from Double Shuffle. Kempton 3 miles is his thing, so I'm not getting excited about future prospects for him. Similarly, T for Two, I think, this is T for Two's race, really. Should have been second in the race last year, but was given possibly a bit too forceful a ride. This time around, given a more patient ride, given every chance to beat Mike Bite, and has done very little wrong. Looks a natural again, really, for Aintree, I think, next year. T for Two, the Aintree Bowl will surely be his thing. Thistlecrack, how do you want to view that? My views on Thistlecrack before the race were that we've seen the best of Thistlecrack now. I don't think he's going to get back to those heights, and for all that he's run better yesterday, it's clear he's not the same horse now that he was 12 months ago. The form reversal with T for Two tells you that, I think. Is he going to come on again from that? Yeah, maybe. But the bottom line is now, in terms of top grade contests, Thistlecrack will not be on my mind for them, and that will include a Gold Cup. I think we've now seen the best of Thistlecrack. Whisper just never really looked happy yesterday at all, and maybe he is better on left-handed tracks. I thought, he has won a couple of small events at Kempton, so I thought I figured he'd be. I think he'd be okay yesterday, but he never looked happy from a fairly sort of early stage, I thought. Bristol Demai, now we know, I think we can be pretty sure that what Bristol Demai wants is a left-handed galloping track with a bit of cut in it. I mean, he had the cut yesterday. There can't be any excuses for Bristol Demai, because he was given a fairly sort of easy time of it on the front, and it just couldn't perform on the day. It just wasn't anywhere near good enough. It may be that we've overrated Haydock, quite possibly, but that's clearly his thing. Haydock in the mud is much more his thing than this. What it does do, an interesting point now for me, is it surely now opens the door for Black Lion for the Gold Cup. Nigel knows now that Bristol Demai cannot win a Gold Cup. He won't win it on good ground. On decent ground come March, Bristol Demai is I wouldn't be having him on my mind. So, Nigel's going to wake up now this morning and get the racing post out and sit there with his sugar puffs and he's thinking, if only I had a horse that, for the Gold Cup now that's proven at Cheltenham, proven at the festival, proven on good ground and is improving. Hello, Black Lion, ladies and gentlemen. Never mind the Grand National. Listen, what's that? I say never mind. Look, plenty of good horses use the Gold Cup as a prep for the Grand National. Plenty of good horses have done that over the years, and surely now Nigel will be, because I'm sure the owners will be pretty keen on it as well. They'll be looking at training Black Lion for the Gold Cup in preparation, if you wish, for the Grand National. But I think Black Lion could still be a major player in the Gold Cup. I really do. I still think he's massively overpriced at 33s. If Nigel comes out this morning and says, yeah, I'll tell you what, given the events of yesterday, we're going to train Black Lion for the Gold Cup now, his odds will halve. His odds will halve in a stroke, I promise you that. So I'm going to take another chance this morning and go in again at 33s. I've already had a bet on at 66 and 50. I'm going to go in again this morning because I still think it's value at 33. I think there's 40 around as well, 40 to 1 around. So I certainly wouldn't put you off having a little bit each way Black Lion for the Gold Cup now because of events yesterday. I think it opens the door for him a bit. And similarly, Fox Norton. Now, Colin and Joe, if you're watching this, please now stop faffing about with Fox Norton and trying to extend him on right-handed tracks to a 3 miler, all this sort of stuff. 2 miles, left-handed, good ground. They should be the pair of them should be locked into a darkened room and made to watch the video of the Schlur a dozen times till it's in their heads. This horse is a 2 miler, left-handed, good ground. That's what Fox Norton wants. That's what he does, and he does very, very well. The Champion Chase is falling apart in front of their very eyes. Why are they trying to look for alternative targets for him? It's a Grade 1. It's a championship race at the festival. Fox Norton, it's there for the taking, in my opinion. It's got to be there for the taking. With every passing week that goes by, and we hear less of what's happening to Altior. If Altior doesn't turn up for the festival, is it the biggest surprise? I don't think so. So for me, Fox Norton for the Champion Chase. I've already backed him for the Champion Chase. Am I talking to him in my pocket? Probably. But look, it's pretty obvious now what Fox Norton wants to me. Would you extend him to 2.5 for the Ryanair? I wouldn't personally, because I think he's a 2 miler, plain and simple 2 miler, left-handed, good ground. So out of it yesterday, I think there are a couple of interesting points. Namely, that I think Blackline really should be looking. I'm sure they're looking at Blackline for the Gold Cup now, because he's arguably their better candidate now than Bristol De Mai. Arguably their best candidate. And similarly with Fox Norton now, they just need to stop trying to find alternative targets for him, and I think go for the Champion Chase. And Mike Bite's got to be high on your list for the Gold Cup. You want a selection for today, don't you? Well, as I say, sadly, I'd only really looked at Chepstow. I like Chepstow. It's a meeting that there are certain tracks I do well at. Fakenham's actually looking at the P&L. Fakenham's one of my best tracks. I love I think the idiosyncrasy of it sort of leads me to certain horses, because I love rogues, as you know, and dodge pots and that sort of stuff. So I do okay at Fakenham. Plumpton's another track I do well at, and Chepstow is high on the agenda. So I'd concentrated most of my efforts today on Chepstow. It's not there. But so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put one up in the 305 at Kempton. I'm going to put the rank outsider up here. I'm going to give Local Show a try for Sarah Humphries and Daryl Jacob. Let's get the negatives out of the way first. The negatives are that the horse just might not be what we think he is anymore. And what he was a very good handicapper. You've only got to go back sort of 18 months really to sort of see, when he was a good handicapper, and he was taking on the likes of Minella Rocco, Native River. He was asked to do some pretty big tasks. But Kempton 3 mile on this sort of ground is ideal for him. This is what he wants. He was a course and distance winner here back in 2016. I think it was for Ben Pauling. He's left Ben since. He's now with Sarah Humphries. The first run for the yard came last March in the Kinmure, where he ran okay to a point. I thought, Local Show. He didn't look like he was completely gone and had lost all his ability. He ran all right to a point there. He goes well fresh. This is much more his thing, and the handicapper's giving him a chance now. He's taking junks off of him. He's took another £3 off since he was last seen. That now puts him back on a winning mark, in my opinion. And as I say, I think having had that break, it's worth trying him today. I would say back in win only. A lot of people fall into this trap of it's a 33-1 chance. I'll back him each way. I don't think he's an each way bet in that he's certain to finish in the first 3. I think he's either win or he blows out again, to be perfectly honest. So I shan't be backing him each way. He'll be a win only bet for me, Local Show. In a tough race. I mean, there's some improving horses in here. Let's not make any bones about it, And that's not to go back to Hollybush Henry, who's really found his old form as well. Brandon Hill, who looked quite impressive last time out at Ascot, I thought. Didn't win, but ran really well from the front. And that's, again, a slight issue today for me. If they want to lead with Local Show, and he has led in the past, he might face a little bit of competition